Lauren?
No, I'm saying Lauren introduced me to Puff.
Oh, got you.
I mean, I knew Puff, but it was more of a personal relationship after, we was at Cassie's birthday.
Jury selection's been amazing. The candidates are being asked about their own connections to or impressions of an array of celebrities. And with no explanation why, at least not yet. The parlor games have begun, my friends. Everybody is trying to connect the dots between the shiny, famous names and the beleaguered rap star Diddy.
And like Nip had no ego. So you know what I'm saying? Like Nip came to me and said, I want you to mentor me, I want to get into real estate, I want you to teach me all your, like your business secrets, you know what I'm saying? I was like, whenever you got questions, pull up.
You're saying that there's tapes and they're being
Yes, there have been people already shopping.
We've heard about the tapes, but
yes.
The shopping thing is
Yes, there already have been tapes leaking around Hollywood, being shopped around to individuals in Hollywood.
Diddy's camp just dropped some explosive tapes involving Lauren London, and the internet is on fire. What's making this even crazier is the wild talk that Lauren might have had something to do with Nipsey Hussle's death. People are seriously saying she allegedly snitched on Nipsey, the father of her child, and that betrayal might have played a role in how it all went down. And it gets even messier. There's serious street talk that this whole situation could have been a setup from the jump, like it was all part of a bigger plan. Now that the heat's on, the real truth is starting to slip out. If you've been locked in on the whispers coming out of Hollywood lately, then this twist won't shock you too much. There's been buzz for weeks about secret tapes floating around. Tapes that allegedly catch some of the biggest celebrities tangled up in Diddy's dark business. And we're not talking about harmless party moments here. These videos supposedly show everything from backdoor deals and shady illegal moves to wild late-night activities that are way past scandalous. And get this, a bunch of these stars didn't even know they were being recorded. Can you imagine the panic behind the scenes right now? Industry vets like Jaguar Wright and Gene Deal have been warning folks for years. They've seen it all, and they've been saying the day would come when the real truth would explode out into the open. Now that Diddy's trial is officially underway, everything is spiraling out of control. More celebrities are getting dragged into his alleged crimes, his secret freaky lifestyle, and some seriously dark underground business. And here's what's got people talking. Most of these celebs being named, they're not even denying they pulled up to Diddy's wild parties.
Bruh, those people who was caught at Diddy's party did not know that he had 250 tape recorders in that house. That's a big house. But he had 250 tape recorders.
What they are trying hard to deny is sticking around for the after-hours madness. That's when things allegedly got real twisted. But let's be real. If you thought something shady was going down, why would you keep showing up? Unless, of course, you were down with whatever was happening behind closed doors. And then boom. Guess whose name popped up right at the start of the trial? Lauren London.
Are people forgetting it was her and Lauren London? I just find it so funny how people are always omitting names and not really looking into the true facts.
Yep, her name came up during jury selection alongside other heavy hitters like Kanye West and Cassie. Jurors were being asked if they knew who these celebrities were. So now everyone's asking, why her? What's the connection? That's got folks seriously questioning her loyalty to Nipsey. Was she really riding for him? Or was she possibly caught in the middle? Or worse, playing both sides? Could she have known way more than she ever let on? And here's where things get even darker. People on the street ain't saying Nipsey's death was just some random act anymore. Now the word is it was a straight-up calculated hit. A serious power move behind the scenes. See, Nipsey wasn't just some regular rapper. He was rising fast, building real power, and doing it his way. Word is, he wasn't following the industry's silent rules or bowing to the gatekeepers. He moved like a king, not a pawn. And to the ones calling shots at the top, that kind of energy is a threat. Then right after Diddy got arrested, everything started falling apart. Out of nowhere, wild claims started flying that Diddy himself might have been behind Nipsey's murder, like he actually called for the hit. The timing, too close to ignore. Let's not forget, Nipsey was only 33 when he was gunned down in broad daylight, right in front of his own marathon store on March 31st, 2019. Dude got hit at least 10 times. Yeah, Eric Holder got locked up and slapped with 60 years behind bars. But the streets have been saying for years that Eric was just the guy holding the gun, not the one pulling the strings. Whispers been saying someone powerful was behind it. And that's where Diddy's name keeps coming back up.
And like Nip had no ego. So you know what I'm saying? Like Nip came to me and said, I want you to mentor me, you know, I want to get into real estate, I want you to teach me all your, you know what I mean, like your business secrets, you know what I'm saying? I was like, whenever you got questions, pull up. And then on his last album, people do not know this. Somebody tried to jerk me, but I fixed it. I actually am one of the executive producers of Nipsey Hussle's last album.
Victory Lap.
Yeah, Victory.
Jaguar Wrights be real loud about it, claiming Diddy allegedly knew way more than he ever let on. But here's where it gets even crazier. Allegedly, Diddy didn't do it alone. Word is someone close to Nipsey was feeding info to the other side, someone nobody would suspect. And now, all eyes are turning toward Lauren London. Some folks are convinced she might have been the inside link. Once you start looking at it from this angle, the whole story starts flipping on its head. Fans are now asking, was Lauren really just Nipsey's girl, or was she planted as Diddy's inside player?
No, I'm saying Lauren introduced me to Puff.
Oh, got you.
I mean, I knew Puff, but it was more of a personal relationship after, you know, we was at Cassie's birthday.
A lot of folks believe she might have been placed in his life to watch his every move, keep him in check, maybe even guide his decisions without him realizing it. Whispers from the street say Lauren and Diddy had a connection that ran way too deep, like not just industry friends deep. People been speculating for a minute that she was one of Diddy's mules or even a yacht girl, just like how folks talk about Young Miami. And that might be why she's now getting pulled into court. Old pics are starting to resurface and they're raising eyebrows. Shots of Lauren and Diddy looking way too cozy, way too familiar. And in some of those photos, Nipsey's right there, looking like he's just tagging along, not even part of the main vibe. It's got people side-eyeing everything now. After Nipsey passed, Lauren did that interview with Angie Martinez, and that's when things got really strange. She said Diddy helped her cope with the grief, but then she quoted something he told her that had folks shook. Puff supposedly told her, "Look, boo, you've shown everybody what it looks like to hold a man down and love him. Now show them what it looks like when it all crumbles. That's your responsibility." Wait, what? That's not something you say to someone unless y'all got a real personal connection behind the scenes.
Okay, you have to tell. Well, you're
Oh
just
my
telling
God.
me this now.
I know, yeah.
Please share, please share. Why?
I have a friend.
Why were you there, and what did you learn?
I learned that no one really dies, and that, you know, it's just an experience in the physical form, and we're attached to our personalities, but that we're just souls, and that we continue and continue and continue. And if you have a spiritual relationship with someone on earth, you will have one with them when you leave earth. So I did this like 2-day seminar on death. So
And this was how long ago?
I had to be like 25.
What sent you there? Do you find that weird though?
I'm weird.
No, it's not weird that you would go. It's just, it's almost like you were preparing yourself for what you would have to
Well,
deal
I told
with.
you I didn't have connection to earth at a young age.
I know, but you don't find that as like you were preparing yourself for what you were going to have to deal with.
But that we're all gonna have to do.
Lauren revealed that Diddy used to call her Boo, the same nickname Nipsey gave her, and that had people doing a double take. Why would Diddy use a name that was so personal and tied to her and Nip's relationship? That wasn't just casual. That hit deep, and it didn't stop there. During that same interview with Angie Martinez, Lauren dropped another bombshell. She said she had attended a death seminar before Nipsey even passed away. Angie looked confused, and fans were flat out stunned. Like, hold up. Why would anyone go to a seminar about grief and death before their man died? It had folks asking, did she know something ahead of time? It's giving serious deja vu. Kind of like when Diddy reportedly bought that gold coffin for Kim Porter months before she passed. That same eerie energy is starting to surround Nipsey's story now too. And when you really look back at how Diddy suddenly got close to Nipsey, things start to look way too planned. Nipsey wasn't deep in the industry like that. He was making moves on his own, no major label puppet strings. But Lauren, she had the connections, she had the doors already open.
Hook up with the biggest rapper at the time. Everything's great. By the way, isn't she? Lauren is the one that introduced Nip to Diddy. Diddy couldn't even get to Nip, even though he had ties in L.A. It was Lauren that brought Nip to him.
And once she brought him around Diddy's circle, things shifted fast. Suddenly, Puff was hands-on in Nipsey's career, helping with Victory Lap, which ended up being Nipsey's biggest and most successful album ever. At first, fans thought Diddy getting involved in Nipsey's career was a major blessing, like a cosign from one of the biggest names in the game. But now, people are looking back and thinking it might have been a setup all along. Gene Deal, Diddy's ex-bodyguard, recently dropped some heavy info. He said Nipsey actually asked Diddy to help make Victory Lap feel like Biggie's Life After Death. That's what Nipsey wanted. That same legendary energy, that timeless vibe, that lasting legacy. But think about it. Life After Death dropped right after Biggie was killed. Let that sink in. Gene claims that's where Nipsey messed up. Inviting Diddy in opened a door that couldn't be closed. And once Diddy stepped through, he sank his claws in deep. Suddenly, Nipsey was spending more time at Diddy's mansion than in the studio. And that's when everything started to shift. Fans began noticing the changes. Nipsey looked drained, worn down, like the weight of something heavy was on him. He wasn't moving the same. His energy, office, the vibe, different. Now there's a theory floating around that Diddy didn't just see Nipsey as another artist. He saw him as a threat, a smart, sharp, independent leader from the streets who couldn't be bought, couldn't be controlled, and refused to play Hollywood's game. That's when the whispers turned into full-blown suspicion. People started saying maybe Diddy didn't just want control. Maybe he wanted Nipsey gone. Think about it. Nipsey was building real power, owning his masters, investing in the community, and waking people up. That ain't what the industry wants from rappers, especially not one who refuses to play puppet. And here's where things get even more twisted. Insiders say after Diddy stepped in, Nipsey's circle started shifting. Folks he trusted started acting funny. Certain people disappeared and others popped up out of nowhere. People who were loyal, suddenly silent. People who were shady, suddenly close. Then came the deals, the business opportunities that looked good on paper but felt off. Diddy had the access, the network, the clout, but what did Nipsey really get in return? Some fans now believe that Victory Lap wasn't just an album, it was a setup to immortalize Nipsey before taking him out. Just like what happened to Biggie. Same playbook, same pattern. A powerful black voice gone too soon, right after a career-defining project. Now people are connecting dots they never looked at before.
Now, you taking a spiritual person who's asking for something. He said, I wanted that same feel as life after death. That same feel was that Biggie got and he went on to sell about 10 million albums or 10 million copies. I was saying, you gotta watch what you say to demons because it just might come true.
And what's coming to light is chilling. See, Diddy's name keeps popping up in the strangest places, tied to way too many sudden deaths, strange disappearances, and broken careers. From Kim Porter to Biggie, and now with Nipsey in the mix, it's starting to look less like coincidence and more like a pattern. And the deeper folks dig, the more they're starting to believe there's a blueprint, a cold, calculated strategy to silence the ones who can't be bought, who speak too loud, or shine too bright without permission. Nipsey was on his way to becoming a legend on his own terms, and some people in high places weren't feeling that. Reports say Diddy was making calls, connecting with Nipsey's people, pitching big ideas, but not all of them felt genuine. Behind the scenes, there was talk that Nipsey was pulling away, getting wary, even thinking about cutting ties. But by then, it might have been too late. And let's not forget Lauren. The moment Nipsey died, she was everywhere. Interviews, magazine covers, exclusive deals. She became the face of the loss, praised for her strength, her love, her pain. But now people are wondering. And now with Diddy under legal fire and more secrets spilling out every day, the pressure is building fast.
Jury selection's been amazing. The candidates are being asked about their own connections to or impressions of an array of celebrities, and with no explanation why, at least not yet. The parlor games have begun, my friends. Everybody is trying to connect the dots between the shiny, famous names and the beleaguered rap star Diddy.
People who used to stay silent are finally speaking up. Former insiders, bodyguards, assistants, even ex-friends. They're all dropping hints that Nipsey's death might have been bigger than the streets ever knew. The streets are buzzing with claims that Diddy was running more than just parties. He was allegedly running a whole underground network, one that involved manipulation, control, blackmail, and silence by any means necessary. If you crossed him or stepped out of line, you disappeared, or worse, you became a headline.
That right here and told y'all there was activity on the darknet. Videos were being distributed and were going to be sold for profit because the diddler needs the money. Did I not say that? Right here.
Now folks are pointing out how Nipsey's death felt too public, too bold, broad daylight, right in front of his store, cameras rolling. It wasn't some low-key setup, it was a statement, almost like someone wanted it to be seen, like it was meant to send a message to others. Stay in line or you're next. And with Lauren tied to both sides, the woman holding Nipsey down, but also close to Diddy, that connection is under a serious microscope now. Fans are asking, was she a grieving partner or the perfect cover? Even Nipsey's last few interviews hit different now. He looked cautious, guarded, like he knew something was closing in. Maybe he didn't want to believe it, or maybe he didn't think they'd really go that far. You can take someone out, sure, but somebody still had to open that door. And right now, a whole lot of folks are pointing straight at Lauren. So here's the real question. What did Lauren London actually know? Because with these alleged tapes now surfacing, tapes tied directly to Diddy's inner circle, the entire story's starting to flip. Maybe Lauren wasn't just grieving Nipsey. Maybe she was covering up what really went down behind closed doors. And now that Diddy's trial is in motion and Lauren's been called in by the court, we might finally start getting real answers. And the internet, oh, they've been going off. Some folks are saying if Nipsey had sold out like the rest, he'd still be alive. But he didn't. He stood firm, stayed true, and that's why they couldn't control him. That's why, to some, his time was cut short. The marathon continues, and no matter how dark it gets, the truth always finds its way out. One user even said, Lauren had a fair hand in it. She was never meant to get that money. That Puma deal, that wasn't random, and her pain never felt real. People are claiming the fans cried harder than she ever did. I didn't even know the man, and it broke me, someone wrote. She didn't even shed a tear, not one. So now we ask you, what's your take? Do you think Lauren was just heartbroken, or was she part of something deeper? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let's get into it. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notifications so you never miss when the truth gets exposed. And if you thought this was crazy, wait till you see what's coming next. See you on the next one.